Hey, what's up, ghouls and gals? Welcome back. Today we are talking about something that actually does give me anxiety and does scare me when talking about horror movies, and that is scenes in horror where death is inescapable, where there's scenes where you want the character to just get out so bad and it's so anxiety inducing, but there's no escape. I've been working on this list since the beginning of the summer. We watched so many of the Piranha movies, and there was one specific scene in Piranha 3D that kicked this whole idea off for me, but we will get there. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give this a thumbs up, subscribe for more, check out all of my links down below if you would like to see any more of me or support the channel any further. Possible spoiler warnings for a few films. I will leave timestamps if you would like to skip through the video. Let's start off this list with Night of the Comet. Now, I feel like this is a pretty unsuspecting film for an inescapable death. Everybody is kind of affected by this thing, unless you are the survivors, and that's where the inescapability comes in. After a passing comet wipes out most of humanity, leaving either dust or zombie-like survivors, two sisters, Reggie and Sam, are captured by a group of scientists. Now, these scientists have survived by hiding in a steel facility, but they are slowly succumbing to the comet's side effects. Instead of helping the sisters, the scientists plan to use them as test subjects. Now, Sam, a very young Kelly Maroney, is restrained to a medical chair and is force-fed laughing gas under the guise of a routine test. And Reggie, her older sister, saves her, and the scientists end up strapped to the table themselves with the laughing gas masks on, unable to remove them, forced to laugh forever. Now, I hate being tickled, and I know that's not the same, but I feel like the uncontrollable laughter that comes with being tickled is almost sometimes painful. Like, I despise being tickled. Maybe it's just like a sensory issue for me. But seeing these people strapped to hospital beds with gas masks on that were actually borrowed from a real medical facility for the filming of this movie, just seeing that whole setup is so creepy to me, to have to be stuck in a room with someone else, seeing what you're going through because someone else next to you is going through the same thing, and you just have to watch until either you, I would assume, overdose on laughing gas, if that's a thing, or like you just laugh yourself to death, which is kind of freaking horrifying in itself. Imagine laughing. Like, that's very Joker from Batman to me, laughing yourself to death. But speaking of laughing, Kelly Maroney said that she had to find a way to laugh in that scene where it didn't sound comedic, but it also was scary enough. She had to kind of find a middle ground where it didn't sound too theatrical, I guess. But let's move into a scene that absolutely traumatized my whole generation, at least, and that is the tanning bed scene in Final Destination 3. And while I do think the entire franchise is pretty freaking scary, with some of the inescapable deaths, the swimming pool drain being one of them, the escalator being another, I specifically feel like the tanning bed sequence is scarier because it's so claustrophobic. This involves a freak accident causing the power supply to malfunction and short out the cooling fans for the tanning beds. And this is a really great example of a mundane activity plus a chain reaction equaling inescapable deaths. Two girls go to tan and pretty much get locked in the tanning booths. Now, I've never been in a tanning bed, and this deterred me entirely from ever wanting to be pale girl for life, okay? The filming was done in real tanning beds with controlled heating elements, and safety rigs were installed, but Crystal Lowe and Cheelin Simmons, who played the Ashleys, said that it was actually pretty terrifying in real life to be put in that situation. And I will link down below There is a whole behind the scenes video on YouTube for the making of and the behind the scenes features for Final Destination 3. So if you're interested in that, I will leave that link down below because it was really fun to watch. All right, we are going to go so far into the Friday the 13th series right now for Friday the 13th 7 and the sleeping bag kill. And I feel like just saying that, you guys know what I'm talking about. After Jason is resurrected once again, he works his way through Camp Crystal Lake, stumbling upon a camper zipped inside a sleeping bag. He grabs it and smashes the body against a tree to death while still zipped inside. And this is honestly another example of a claustrophobic kill, because while the scene was done with Kane Hodder using a weighted mannequin to achieve that real look and like the real feel of a person being in the sleeping bag, it's just like, if you think about it and you put yourself into that situation, you have no idea what's going on the outside, because if you're zipped all the way in, good luck. Also, once you're in motion, if there's no zipper accessible to you, how are you going to get out of that? It's such a scary kill. While it seems kind of comedic, the way that it's shot, the, you know, whatever, it's Kane Hodder. You can tell it's him and we love him for it. But when you think about it, it's actually so scary, and fans loved this kill enough for it to be done in Jason X, and they even did it ×2 with 2 sleeping bags, I'm pretty sure. But let's move into one of the most chilling scenes in a movie I've ever seen, and that comes from The Sacrament by Ty West. Now, this is known as the cyanide scene or the sister-brother violence scene, but the movie itself, I've done a whole review, is based on the Jonestown Massacre. And this scene specifically involving a brother and sister, Patrick and Caroline, where Caroline is fully in the cult and Patrick is going to try and bring her home, but she had other plans. She chains him to a table, and I'm trying to do this from memory, so I don't remember if she injects him with cyanide or makes him drink cyanide, but I'm pretty sure it's an injection. But you have to just watch this man die, and it's so sad. It's the unflinching, unmoving documentary style filmmaking Ty West achieved with this scene that made it so scary. Like, you just have to sit there and the camera does not move, and you watch and you're like, oh no, and then it just gets worse and worse when you realize that he's not getting out and going anywhere. Now, something that was used in this movie to describe this is peaceful salvation, and it's so sad. It's so scary. And like the sister on brother violence of it all, I feel like that's even, like, I am an only child and I feel like I'm glad to be an only child. But let's move into one of the more shocking scenes from a movie that honestly is a gut punch. And that is the kiss of death scene from 28 Weeks Later. And I feel like you guys know where I'm going with this. When we finally get a husband and wife reunion, we think all is well, and we learn that the wife is an asymptomatic carrier of the rage virus, and the husband is just so overcome with emotion and joy that he kisses her, and they are in a room together. She's asymptomatic and he's obviously symptomatic, and it's the way that this could have been avoided if you could have just not have kissed your wife. It subverts the expectations on how the virus spreads. Instead of just a full bite, it's some simple spit swapping and it's over. And honestly, it's like you think it's going to be a simple, tender moment, but then you realize that she is sick and he is not. Every time I see that scene, every time I see someone talk about it, it's just so sad, because you think of how much you love your partner and you want to comfort and be there for them, but in this situation it's so much more harrowing. But let's get into the silliest one of them all, and that is Piranha 3D. I am a big fan of the Piranha franchise. I am not even gonna lie. I can't lie to you guys. I love bad movies. There's a lot of scenes in this movie near the end where death is inescapable, but one specific scene sticks out to me the most, and that is Propeller Girl, or the Crimson Tide scene. If you know, you know. Now, in the midst of the piranha invasion, where everybody is trying to either escape the water or they are getting attacked in the water, there is obviously an asshole character in this movie who thinks he's better than everybody else, and he tries to flee the situation, but in doing so, a girl gets sucked under the water and her hair gets stuck in the boat motor, in the like little propeller. Now, I can't swim very well, so this one freaks me out. But you see her hair get wrapped right inside the blades and then just ripped off her head. It takes scalping to a whole new level. Just like imagine like the piranhas are one thing, but you're not even like dying because of that right now. You're dying because your hair is in a boat motor. That really sucks. But can we talk about, like, I didn't remember until we watched this movie again this like June, that Adam Scott is in Piranha. He's like the best part of the movie. I love when he randomly pops up in horror movies. Hellraiser Deader, I believe he's in. Krampus. I love when a good comedian can do horror. So let me know in the comments a scene from a horror movie where you think inescapable death. Something that stuck with you that makes you so afraid of it ever happening in real life. Let me know in the comments. And might I remind you that real life is always more scary than practical effects. At the end of the day, these people are all alive and none of this was real. And that's why we love horror. It allows us to see things and feel things and still see these people walk out alive at the end in reality. I love horror because it always helps me process things. You guys know that I've been trauma dumping a lot around here lately, but I'm just a big fan of horror movies, and I just want to remind you guys that, like, it's okay to like these movies. It's okay to enjoy horror and gore and all of that, as long as you can discern that this is not real life. I just wanted to get that out there once again. Sometimes I like to kind of remind the audience that, like, I'm not a sicko. I'm just a regular gal. I just like horror movies. I will see you guys next week. We are talking all things school-related horror. That is our themed week this month. We are doing a top 5 back-to-school, school-related horror movie list, and then we are doing a review of Return to Horror High. So stay tuned for that. I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Sayonara, Spooky Fam.